Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do an MLA report on a song that you like, and we're going to do it as a Google Doc, and I'm going to show you how. Alright, let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look at the grade scale for instructions. We're going to take notes, and you're going to write down, the first thing you need to do is write down an intelligent question about this assignment. But before you can write down an intelligent question about this assignment, you have to be able to look at the instructions. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to my website, go to Tech, go to MLA Reports, find the thing about the song, click there, and then you're going to go to the click on the files you need right there. Okay, that's going to take you to this. So I want you to read it and write down an intelligent question about it. Okay, that's your first note that you're going to take. All right, hit pause and do that. Okay, so like I said before, we're going to take some notes. So green text means go and do what it says, red text means stop and take notes, and any other color means read and learn. Okay, so an MLA report it's a report that you're going to use for Sonora High School, for English, and for college. Okay, that's why you need to use it. Is MLA the only or best style for a report? There are many, many other styles of reports, but it's the most commonly one used, and it's the one used at Sonora High and for the senior project. Okay, I should format my MLA report correctly, because if you try to wing it, it's just not really going to work. Okay, so if you look right here, here is, let's see if I can find it. That's not it. I don't need that anymore. And I don't need this anymore. You've already read this. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go, let's see if I can find the one I'm looking for. There it is. Okay, so here's one that a student did, and it looks great. Right? The formatting looks just fine. The only problem is there's all kinds of things he messed up on. For example, he typed in the number 1 instead of putting in a page number. And if you look over here, anything you type in the header, there's a 1 there. Whatever you type appears on every page. So if you type in a 1, it's going to put a 1. Okay, the next thing is this. This looks pretty well centered, except for if I have to modify it, you can see, oh, it's no longer centered. That's because he hit the space bar to move it over. And if you use the space bar, it doesn't really center it. It just moves it over. So what we need to do is actually hit the center. The other thing he did is when he got to the end of the line, he hit enter. Okay, and the problem with that is that if you type in another word, you can see that doesn't work. So make sure you don't hit the enter at the end of this line. You just use the word wrap. Okay. The other problem is this. If you hit enter right here, you can see, hey, it didn't tab in. Why? What's the deal with that? Well, the reason is he hit the space bar instead of using the correct indent. Okay, and so what we need to do is go to the ruler and give it a 1/2 inch first line indent. And the nice thing about that is you can see that I messed up again. I'm going to hit backspace, space bar. Okay, so you can see the nice thing about that is when I hit enter, it gives me, I centered this. Oops. I see what happened. Let me align this to the left. Okay, so I have my 1/2 inch first line indent. I click here. When I hit enter, you can see that I have a nice 1/2 inch first line indent on the next paragraph. Okay? Alright, so the next thing that he did wrong is if you look down at the works cited page, it looks lovely, except for what he did is he decided, I'm just going to hit enter right here, and I'm going to tab this in to give it a hanging dent. That's not the way you give it a hanging dent. So what you have to do is go backspace, backspace, space bar. Okay, and you select the whole paragraph, and you drag this whole thing over here. Okay, and then you drag the upper triangle back, and that's how you give it a hanging indent. And so now, if I add extra words, it still works, as opposed to this one that's done wrong. If I type in extra words here, you can see it doesn't work at all. Okay, you have 2 crazy paragraphs not working together. Okay, so that's why you don't do it wrong. Okay, so let's see if we can get back to our... Okay, so now you know, is MLA the only... I should format the MLA report correctly, because if I make any changes, it messes it up. What are the margins for the MLA report? Alright, so here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to go to your Google Drive and make a new document. Okay, so I want you to go and make a new document. Okay, So we're starting off with a blank document. You're going to call it MLA Song Report and put your last name and save it in your drive. Okay? Good. Hit pause and do that. The first thing we're going to do is going to set up the margins. Okay, so we're going to go File, and we're going to go to Page Setup. And the margins are a 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and click OK. What are margins? Margins are the blank area around the edges. Okay, for a business letter, you have a 2-inch margin, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. For this, it's all 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Okay, so the margins for an MLA report are the space around the edges, and they're 1, 1, 1, 1. The line spacing for an MLA report is, and the line spacing is going to be okay, so the line spacing is going to be double space. So we're going to go Format, we're going to go to Line Spacing, and it should be double space. Okay, so we have double spacing, which means there's a blank line between everything. Alright, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in some stuff at the top. Okay, so you type in your name, you're going to type in my name, you're going to type in the class, and then you're going to type in today's date, not this particular date. Okay? Alright, so you can see that this is double spaced. Okay, the font for an MLA report is Times New Roman 12-point font. We'll work on that. Times New Roman 12-point font. What do you do for page numbers? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we want to make sure that this is Times New Roman, and we're going to make sure it's 12-point font. Okay, so we get to that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is what goes here at the top. Okay, so we're going to go Insert, and we're going to go to a header. So, and we're going to align it to the right. You're going to type in your last name. Space bar. You're going to type in your last name, and that's where that's where you put in the page number. So you're going to go Insert, Page Number at the top of the page. Okay, so that's what goes there. Okay, what do you do for a title page? Well, you do not do a title page. Instead, you just put all the stuff at the top just like I showed you, and then you put a title, and let's take a look at that. And then the next thing is what's the paragraph formatting. We'll look at all of that. So let's go right over here. Okay, so what we do now is we hit Enter, and then we're going to center it, and we're going to type in. So we're going to put in the title, which is going to be Lonely Boy. Okay. Alright, so we have that centered. We hit Enter, and the next question, what's the paragraph formatting? So we're going to hit Enter, and the paragraph formatting is we're going to do Times New Roman 12-point font. We're going to do a double space, which we already have, and we're going to add our half-inch first line indent. Okay, like that. And so then you type in the answer to the first question, which is make a nice beginning to this thing. And there it is. We answer the first question. I'm going to hit Enter. And then the next thing we have to do is we're going to have to add some lyrics. So what I did is I went to Google, and I looked up Lonely Boy lyrics. Here they are. I'm going to copy these. Okay, now the problem is there's going to be some weird formatting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control V. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I get rid of any weird formatting. So I'm going to go Format, and I'm going to clear the formatting, because when you copy text from the web, it's usually kind of weird. And then on the lyrics, you can do the lyrics single-spaced if you want. If you want them to be double-spaced, you can. And I don't think these should have a half-inch first line indent. Everything else should after this. Okay? Select it and make sure we get it. Let's try that again. Okay, so we're going to try this again. We're going to go Format. We're going to clear the formatting. And let's see what that... Okay, there we go. So we got rid of all the weird formatting. And that's what we want it to look like. Okay, so now we're going to go to the end of this. We're going to hit Enter. We're going to make sure our formatting is right. So we're going to go Formatting. We're going to go Paragraph. No, we're going to go Line Spacing. Make sure it's back to double because that got mixed up again. We're going to do our half-inch first line indent. Okay, and then what I want you to do now is answer all the questions from the instructions here. Okay? Alright, and let's make sure we answered all these questions. Alright, so what is the paragraph formatting? We know that it's half-inch first line indent, 12-point font, and it's double-spaced. Alright, that's good for one day. Get that going, and then, well, not one day, but this one good for one spiel, and I will get the rest of the spiel tomorrow.